Hello everyone, this is Harmeet Singh from Team Choose New Zealand. We offer various immigration and education services to international students. And today we have Ellen Quitz here with us, who are going to talk about many common confusions, common myths among international students. And we're going to cover a few things like why 6-month funds are needed, why it is a very common confusion among international students, why it is so important, paying an advance fee, how important that is, and will that help getting a quick success on the international student visa application. So I know there are many confusions among international students, and today we're going to cover a few of them. And today we have got Alan with us. He's the expert advisor because he have handled quite a lot of visa applications in these many regions already.
Yes, so hi everyone, my name is Alan Kutsia. I'm a licensed immigration advisor. I've been working in student visas for the past, I suppose, 6 or 7 years.
What's the 6-month rule is, because there is so much confusion among that question always. Why always 6 months? Why Immigration New Zealand really asks for 6-month funding?
Well, that's a common misconception. Actually, Immigration New Zealand has never, ever, not once, they have never said that you must hold your funds for 6 months. This is actually a myth. Immigration New Zealand, or INZ, what they say is that it is a good idea, it is recommended to show 6 months of transaction history. So 6 months of bank statements. It does not mean that you have to keep your savings for 6 months before you can apply. You can have received your funds, for example, 1 week ago, and if the circumstances are right, 1 week old funds can lead to the visa being approved under the right circumstances.
So the next question we have got is, why do so many people think the money must be 6-month old?
Immigration New Zealand has mentioned shall we call a 6-month rule, but it's been misread. What they say is 6 months transaction history. So 6 months bank statements, which could be showing your income coming into the bank account, for example. It would not mean, for example, that you receive cash in your bank account, wait 6 months, and then the cash becomes acceptable. That's not how it works. There is actually 3 main elements to cover, but I'm sure we'll talk about that later.
Why people always come to, I'm sure you would have been receiving these kind of inquiries always, sir, can I please wait for 6 months and then apply my visa? You pretty much already answered this question, I can see, but people believe that they, even after keeping money for 6 months in the bank, they still get visa declined.
Yes.
So
yeah.
What is your comment on that?
What I said before is true, that sometimes 1 week old funds you can be approved. On the other hand, sometimes 6-month old funds you can be declined, which shows that actually there is no such thing as a 6-month rule. What really matters is the source of the funds, where the money came from, as well as the, shall we say, the variety, the diversity of your funds. There's a lot of elements involved. It's hard to sum up in 1 or 2 sentences, but the important point is that it is not black and white, that your funds are acceptable after 6 months. That's not how it works.
So basically you trying to say, hey, if even this money is not 6 months old, it doesn't mean that the visa will get declined.
Yes, that's right. So again, it's case by case. But if you have funds with only, for example, 1 week or 1 month history, it will be very, very important for you to show that it comes from a genuine source.
So Alan, I think the next question would be in a bit more detail. Why does Immigration New Zealand really look into the proof of funds? Source, availability, or length of time funds are held? Why are they always after this particular mindset?
That's the 3 elements. So number 1, the first element is the length of time the funds are held. So as I said, there's no such thing as a 6-month rule. However, the length of time is something that they will consider. So for example, 1-year-old funds, 2-year-old funds, or 1-week-old funds, this does have an impact. But much more important than the length of time is the source of the funds. And then, of course, the availability of the funds, that's the 3rd element. But I believe that the source is probably the most common reason for why a visa might be approved or declined based on funds. It depends on the source of the funds.
So according to you, the source is plays a vital role here. If the source is not available, that can be a big question mark.
Yes, I'm not saying that you must always give evidence of the source. So for example, if your funds are 1 year old or 2 years old, you would not need to show the source when funds are this historical. But the outcome of the application can really revolve around proving that you have a genuine source. with evidence, of course, not just your claims, your statements. You have to have evidence to prove where the money came from before it entered into your bank account.
Right. See, Alan, I deal with a lot of South Asian students coming back from India myself. I can see a lot of parents do ask this question. So if anybody comes to you and say, I have got 5-year-old fixed deposit in Indian bank, my father got this money having into the bank from last 5 years, but actually there's no source available before 5 years how the money came into his account. So can Immigration New Zealand still always jump and ask on that one?
In theory, they could. But to be honest, if I had a student with 5-year-old, I don't think that Immigration New Zealand would expect evidence of the source of funds because the length of time is so long. So yeah, I'm not saying that you must always give evidence of the source of funds. That's not the point.
Yeah.
However, if your funds are very recent, like 1 week old or 1 month old, the source is going to decide whether your application is approved or declined.
Yeah, to sum up, you can say that it's completely up to the immigration officer to ask or not ask on your source of funds, depending on your given funds, if depending on their length, right?
To an extent, within common sense and reasonableness, I think, for example, if an immigration officer asked for evidence of a source of funds from 10 years ago, that would be unreasonable, and you could probably debate that with the officer.
That's true.
But the point remains that it is overall a discretionary decision, that it's up to the immigration officer to decide within common sense and reason whether your funds come from a genuine source and whether they are available. And when deciding that, they can consider the length of time that funds have been held. But the length of time is not the only element. You can prove it through evidence of the source if you need to.
Right. Why it is always in the common mind that if we pay the tuition fee in advance, maybe Immigration New Zealand just approve our visa as quickly rather than giving a lot of evidences that how we pay the tuition fee or pay it after getting approval in principle.
Right.
So would you mind explaining some, truth about it?
Many people think that if you prepay your tuition fee before you apply, then you will have a higher chance of getting approved. That's not true. There's nothing in the policy that says that, and there's nothing in my experience that proves that. Prepaying your application fees does not make the application give it a higher chance of success, and it does not make the application easier to process because you will provide the tuition fee receipt, but you must still show a source of how you pay the tuition fee.
So I'm sure it's a very nice answer which Alan gave, but before we leave, Alan, what's the last piece of advice?
My biggest advice would be to get the right help from the right professional, because what I've talked about today is a lot of general information, but everyone's case is unique and complicated. So getting a licensed immigration advisor like us in Choose New Zealand will really make a big difference towards your application. So now is not the time for you to pick the cheapest option. Applying for a visa can change your life. So you should pick the most high quality immigration advice that you can find, like our excellent team at Choose New Zealand.
Yeah, that's better because earlier you said immigration advisor like us. I'm not immigration advisor, please. I am the business development manager. I look after all the sales and marketing. So Alan is the one who is the, got a license to give an immigration advice to international students and anybody who's looking to immigrate to New Zealand. So, well, thank you very much, Alan. I think those were pretty much our today's question. Thank you very much for your time. And please contact us if you have got more questions. You feel free to email us. Everything is available on our website. You can go to www.choosenewzealand.com and you can get in touch with me for your admissions part, and I can connect you further with our immigration team. That's it. Thank you so much, Alan.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Hamid.
Thank you very much.